Hello everyone, my name is Stamm. What we're going to be going over today is a clipper guard chart. We're going to go over all the measurements for all three sets of guards, your black ones, red ones, and purple ones, how they're interchangeable, what guards you may need, why, and it'll help you going forward with your speed, and you'll just understand everything for fading and why you are using which guard and what time and why and how and all that. We're going to get into that right now. So with that being said, we'll just go right into it. These guards here are your black wall guards. You have your red speedo guards and your purple Andis guards, the magnetic guards. Regardless of what clipper you're using, you can use any of these guards to get the job done. I just want to explain to you what each set of guards represents, and they're all cut a little different and the measurements are different. So when clients are asking you for certain type of haircuts, and for example, they may say, I want a 1 on the sides and a 3 on top. If you're using the red guards, you can't complete that, what they're asking for. Because when they're asking for a 1, they're asking for a 1/8 of an inch. So when you're talking about in terms of numbers, what clients are asking for, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way up to 8, they're speaking in terms of eighths. And when I say eighths, I'm talking about like a measurement. So if you ever had a ruler or anything, you know in inches it goes 8, 16, 30 seconds, all the way up to you have your 1 inch mark. So if somebody asks for a 1, they're asking basically for a 1/8 of an inch. If they're asking for 2, they're asking for 2/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch. 3 is 3/8, 4 is 4/8, 5 is 5/8, 6 is 6/8, and so forth. Now the purple guards, you have a 0, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're in eighths as well. They're cut a little bit different, so you'll be able to see a little bit different, but not really to the naked eye. It just depends. They're just cut a little different. They're set up to mean the same thing. Now, my personal preference, I like to use the black guards. I use the Wall Magic clip, which we'll get into that, here in a second. And then the red guards is what I grew up using, and those measurements are a little different. As you can see here, I'll go over these. See, this says 1, that says 2, but that's not really what they are. So if you're a beginner and a client comes in and asks for a 1 and you put this on their head, that's not going to be what they want. So now they're already going to feel unconfident in your abilities because you don't know what they're asking for. Now, a client may not know what they're talking about, but it's not their responsibility to know what they're talking about. It's your responsibility. So when they ask for certain things, you're supposed to be able to identify that and get them to the right guards and the right haircut that they want. So what I'm going to do is explain these red guards. This 000 and 00, we're going to leave these out for a second. And we're just going to start with this 0. It's not a 0. So these 0, OA, 1, 1A, 2, forget those numbers. What is right underneath is the numbers you really need to be paying attention to. If we go back to this 00, that's a 1/16. So if I just told you that this one and this one is 1/8, 1/16 is half of that. So if somebody asks for a 1 and you put this 00 on there, you're really giving them a 1/16, which is less than the 1. So then you have the problem of you might run over and you start cutting and they say, oh, that's too low on the sides. So now you made a mistake simply by not having the correct guard on your clippers. So this 00 represents a 1/16. This 0, which I said is terrible that they're numbered like this, it doesn't make any sense to me, is 3/16 of an inch. So that would essentially be a 1.5, but it says 0. So it's very important and very key to understand that. Your OA is 5/16. Your 1 is 7/16, which is just less than half. Your 1A is 9/16 and 11/16. So your red guards essentially are made in 16ths, while your black guards are made in eighths and your purple guards are made in eighths. So we go 1/16 to 3/16 to 5/16 to 7/16, 9/16, 11/16. Now, this is where, if you understand this, you can make the simple adjustment. If they want a 1/8 and they want it faded into a 2, what this really is, you put your 1 on there, you make your first line, as we talked about before in my other fade videos. And then they want a 2 on top, you'll keep the lever closed at all times. Whenever you're doing simple 1 lengths, The lever should be closed. The only time the lever should be open on your clippers is when you're blending. When you're opening and closing, you're blending. But when you're setting permanent lengths, they should always be closed. That's a principle. You can write that down. Open is for blending. Closed all the way is for permanent lengths. So if we're going to 1 and we want to get to this 2 and we open this all the way up and it's still not getting that 2 out, that's where this comes into play. And I'm going to tell you how I know that. These black wall guards, if you've ever bought the wall guards, you know that it comes with a 1/16 and it comes with a 3/16, which is labeled as a 1.5. So there's a 1.5 here, which I'll show you in a second. There's a 1.5 here that will help you get from 1 to 2. If this opening up all the way doesn't do it for you, they created that because they knew the gap between 1 and 2 was a little too far that it's noticeable with the eye. Now, anything over 2, you can go from 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6 with just opening and closing the lever. You can get there. And we talked about, in my other videos about the money drill and how you can translate each lever into 20 cents. Since there's 5 dots, you go up $1.20, $1.40, $1.60, $1.80. We went over that already. I'm hoping you've watched my other videos so you understand that. So they came out with that. And then also, if you want a little lighter than the 1, they got the 1/16 guard. That's very small that I'll show you here in a second. So if we're comparing these 3, you got the 1/8 and 1/8, and then you got the 3/16 and the 1/16. So with the purple guards, the reason I don't use them anymore is because if I use the purple guards, then I got to go and buy this. Or I got to buy this 000, because this 0 is like this 00. Those match up. That's why they're right next to each other. But if I get the black guards, they created the 1.5 and the 1/16 here. So now I don't have to translate into no other. I don't have to, swap. Because I used to have the purple guard. They were magnetic. They were cool. Then I had to have the red guard so I could, use that for certain type of, cuts or certain type of fades. Especially on thicker hair, you need to be a little bit more finer, and get it blended correctly. On thinner hair, you may not be able to notice it as much until you get down really low. And then, obviously, you're going to need your other guards. But, yeah, so that is how you compare and contrast. That's why I have them in the middle here. So a set of red guards is good if you need it. Now, once you get past the 2, like I said, you don't need them extra guards. You can go from one guard to the next because the level of hair is high enough to be able to just blend without anything being visible to the naked eye that it's off. And then if there is a slightly bit off, then you can just freehand trim it with no guard at all. So that's very simple. So once again, I want to make that clear. 1/8 for black guards, 1/8 for purple guards, even though these are magnetic, and the red guards are in 1/16. Now I'm going to go get some guards, the 1.5 and the 1/16, just to show you exactly what I'm talking about. Here is your 1/2 guard. I called it a 1/16. What I really meant was a 1/2. But if you look on the left side of it, it says 1/16. But it says half on here in big print. This would go right here. This other guard is a 1.5, which is 3/16 on this side. That goes in here. So now you see what I'm saying when you can use this 1 and this 1.5 to blend into your 2. So as I talked about before on my other videos about the dollar translation, these are called 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 5/8, all the way up to 6. It's really $1, $2, $3, $4, $5, $6. I broke it down in money terms because everybody understands money. At least by the point where you start cutting hair. You have to understand money. If not, then you're in the wrong business. But everybody understands that. So if I'm translating everything into money, if this is $1 and then I got this half here, that's actually $1.50, which gets you closer to this 2. Now, if you have this 1 and then you have the clippers, let me grab the clippers real quick. So now if you have this 1 and you put it on these clippers like this and you open it all the way up, on the masters there's like 5 notches. So we would open it up 1 notch, it would be $1.20, 2 notches, $1.40, 3 notches, $1.60. and 4 notches, $1.80. So if you're at $1.80 and then you're trying to get to this 2 to get blended, $1.80 is almost $2. So then all you do with your X motion that I taught you before is you just blend that a little bit out. You may have to flick off a little bit just so you can easily blend that 1 into that 2. Now, clipper companies understood that sometimes even for the beginner, that was going to be a little tough. So then they created this 1.5, which now you're starting at $1.50, but if you open it up all the way, you're higher than the 2 closed. So now there's no reason you can't get from the 1 all the way up to the 2, all the way to the 2, blended smooth and perfect. So there's no line and it's not visible to anybody. That's why they created that. So now that makes sense. So now, and the same thing with the 1/16. If we have that on there, and you know we are trying to blend out the 1, but we really can't get it, this half, open it up a little bit. That'll help you on certain types of hair. You know, them little spots that are just extra hard to get. We don't understand why, but they just are. They created that. So now there's no reason why you can't do that. Now, if you have the red guards already, just go buy this 1/8 and this 2 and make it blend if you don't want to buy the whole set. Same thing with the purple guards. Just go buy the 2 red ones. Because once you get under 2, that's where you need every little finite detail. The bigger guards, not so much. So all that makes sense. These are the preferred clippers I like to use. They're coreless. The lithium ion battery lasts longer, very light. I was super excited when Wall came out with this because it just made my life easier. You know, especially for barbers who travel, cut in, you know, different areas and stuff like that. It's just so much easier to do the around the house or the hotel or wherever you have to go, the office, wherever, to just be able to unplug and do a cut, and, you know, it's more convenient. So I was excited about that. So I hope all this makes sense. I believe it does. Once you understand this, there'll be another video coming out about the detachable guards. I'll explain how all that works and how the measurements add up and all that good stuff. But this should make sense. If you understand this, this is the ground floor for beginning to learn how to fade. You can start fading with any type of clipper you want if you understand this. Because this is how it all begins. If you don't know, the reason why haircuts take so long is because you're going from this guard to this guard. You don't know what translates to what. You probably before this video didn't even know the measurements of each of these guards or what they meant. So now we got that out the way. This should very, very much help you in starting a blend. And obviously, like I said before, in the fade tutorial videos, now when you watch the adjustable clipper tutorial, you'll understand exactly what all these mean and why I'm doing what I'm doing. So I encourage you to go from this back and rewatch those videos, and I guarantee you it makes more sense to you now than it did before. I hope this helps. Please give me some feedback and let me know exactly, you know, what you want. There'll be some other hair cutting tutorials. I got the temp fade and mohawk and, you know, some more lineup techniques coming out soon, just more focused in certain areas that you guys have asked for. So just give me some feedback. Let me know if this makes sense to you or not, and what else you would like to know. And I'll do my best to accommodate each one of you in your journey of becoming a master barber. Thank you.